Russia showed off its most advanced combat skills at its annual Army Forum. Tanks, self-propelled guns, missile launchers and its aviation fleet displayed their might as they took part in joint maneuvers in front of delegations from 120 countries. The convention showcased the latest advancements across the global military industry from China, in Turkey, South Africa, India and Kazakhstan, among others. More than 50 items of military hardware operational in Russia's Black Sea Fleet, which includes the S-400 air defense missile systems, were put to exhibit at the forum, which was attended by more than 1,500 enterprises, demonstrating more than 27,000 products and technologies. In Hong Kong, protesters are determined to get their message out during the G20 summit, even where mainland China has decreed that no discussions on Hong Kong will take place. They've organized a crowdfunding campaign to finance front-page newspaper ads urging G20 nations to get involved. They plan to submit a petition to each consulate asking their governments to confront Chinese President Xi Jinping at the summit this weekend. The protesters will visit the US consulate, the European Union office and the British consulate as well. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom's Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt has urged Hong Kong to set up an independent investigation into the violence during the recent mass protests. Addressing members of Parliament, Hunt expressed concern over actions by Hong Kong's law enforcement agencies, including police firing tear gas and rubber bullets.
I'm very concerned with the situation in Hong Kong, and I raised those concerns with the Chief Executive on the 12th of June. I today urge the Hong Kong SAR government to establish a robust, independent investigation into the violent scenes that we saw. The outcome of that investigation will inform our assessment of future export licence applications to the Hong Kong police, and we will not issue any further export licences for crowd control equipment to Hong Kong unless we are satisfied that concerns raised on human rights and fundamental freedoms have been thoroughly addressed.
Hunt's decision means that export licenses will not be approved until concerns about human rights abuses in Hong Kong are thoroughly addressed. The protests in Hong Kong began after the Chief Executive, Carrie Lam, tried to push through a legislation that would have allowed suspects of some crimes to be forced to take trial in Communist Party-dominated courts in mainland China.
According to reports that the protesters have raised around $850,000 to take out advertisements in papers, including the New York Times and the Financial Times, to highlight the issue. But it's very difficult to see exactly what sort of impact this is all going to have. We are told, according to reports, that the city's chief executive, Carrie Lam, has doubled down on her refusal to withdraw the bill completely. At a closed-door meeting with business and community leaders, we're told that she said, look, the bill has been suspended and is effectively dead and doesn't want to move forward on any other thing with it. And she's also said to have told them that she won't exonerate the students that have been accused of violence last Wednesday, and has refused also to call for an investigation into police action last week. She said to have told them that, look, we must uphold the rule of law, and the protesters that were involved in any violence need to be dealt with impartially, and that they must also uphold the dignity of the police.
Facebook's founder, Mark Zuckerberg, has been on a mission against hate content on its platform. His latest effort comes from Paris. Facebook and the French government have signed an agreement for the identity transfer of users who propagate hate content on the platform. Facebook uses an artificial intelligence software to flag hate content as well as fake accounts and fake news. This isn't the first agreement between France and Facebook, though. Facebook already shares IP addresses and identification data of users with suspected terror links, but only with judges who formally demand it. But this new agreement on hate content is the first of its kind in the world. Until now, Facebook had stopped sharing data based on hate content, as the US and French legal agreements did not require them to do so. The new agreement comes at a time when France is debating a fine of up to 4% of global revenue as a penalty for failing to regulate hate content. France's recent push towards making digital media hate-free is largely attributed to the Digital Affairs Minister, Cédric O.